guys, my name's Jonathan Reich. I'm a licensed CPA in the state of Louisiana, and because I'm a CPA, I deal with all things business. Typically, I'll try and help people save some time, save some money, use different tools, stuff like that. But a lot of times I also end up talking personal finance, especially around tax season. What are you going to do with your tax refund? What do you need to spend money on? Stuff like that. And today, that topic of kind of personal finance and how we're running stuff at the house, I think is more relevant than ever. So it's early 2026 now. If you're like me, you're probably trying to save a couple bucks at the end of each month and have a little bit of extra spending money or something you can squirrel away. And this topic is actually really, really fresh for me because I actually just moved over all of my vehicles, my life insurance policies, my homeowner's policy. I have some equipment that was insured. I just moved it all over from State Farm to some different insurance companies because I could save $300 a month. And State Farm they're a good company, but they're on the pricier side. And it was time to shop around. And you should shop around every couple of years just to make sure you're not paying more than you need to. So, was happy to put that money back in my pocket, but that leads to the question of, well, how do you shop around car insurance? How do you find good car insurance quotes? How do you compare apples to apples? Coverage limits, deductibles, what's going to affect my rate? There are tools out there that can help you answer these questions. And that's kind of what I want to go over today. So I've got a couple in the wings here. We've got BestMoney, we've got LendingTree, we've got Bankrate. This isn't going to be super in-depth. This is going to be more so how can I save money shopping car insurance, cross-shopping, making sure I'm comparing apples to apples. So a little bit about these sites. They're what you call aggregators. Basically, they say, hey, I've got a bunch of different banks that are offering credit cards, or I've got a bunch of mortgage lenders that are offering loans, and then they'll put them all into a list for you. You input some details, maybe your credit score, your age, your income, what you do for a living, and they'll say, okay, here's what we think is a good match. And then you filter through, you say, okay, I would like to work with maybe State Farm for car insurance, or maybe I'd like to work with Capital One for a credit card, or maybe I'll work with a mortgage lender that they suggest. And that's how those sites works. And then you underwrite your application, they do the hard pull, and then you can actually start going through that loan process. And then the aggregator sites make a little bit of money based off the referral, essentially. And that's how all of these sites work. So nothing special there. That's been pretty common for a couple decades now. So let's talk about car insurance, specifically BestMoney. You click on car insurance. Okay, let's answer a couple questions. You can see it won't affect your credit score. It takes about a minute. I got one car. I'm a homeowner, and I'm just going to answer these quickly. Not all of these are going to be truthful, but yeah, I have insurance. I've got good credit. That's close enough, and I'm not a veteran. All right, so hey, look, there's State Farm. I just told you guys I moved from them because they were a little expensive. So, all right, we have a couple different car insurance providers here. So Progressive, Insurify Coverage, Quote Wizard. Okay, so me personally, I would always recommend to kind of stick with the name brand folks. So Geico, Progressive, Allstate, those are some of the bigger players in the space. The reason I say that is if you are in an accident and you've got a no-name insurance company, they may drag their feet on paying out, especially if you need like medical coverage or something like that, or if you need a rental, or you really need that car replaced so you can get to work. I would always go with a bigger company just because you don't want to be up the creek without paddle because someone rear-ended you, and it could even be not your fault, So I'm just gonna click on the first one, Progressive. All right, they're gonna pull me over to their website. They're gonna take a bunch of information, what I want. I'm not gonna input a lot of this. I'm just showing you guys how to do it because as soon as I start putting in information on where I live, what type of insurance I'm looking for, is it full coverage, comprehensive, is it just liability, how many vehicles I have, my mailbox and my email is going to probably have more mail in it than I would like. So, but that's how you do it. And then you can do the same thing for Allstate. It'll pull you over to their site using that BestMoney link, and it's just going to push you over there. And then you're basically going to answer those questions. Tell, what do you do for work? And then an agent will reach out to you. Okay, so that's pretty much the crux of how all these companies work. And then you're going to get your premium. So what I would do if I'm trying to save some money on car insurance, which is literally what I just did like a month ago, guys, I would say, okay, Progressive, Geico, Allstate, input all my information in, and then say, all right, I want, let's just say minimum state coverage I need. I think it's like typically 25, 15, 25. That's 25,000, 15,000, 25,000. I think is one is for your car, the other's for the other car, and then like maybe a medical rider or something like that. I'm not super familiar with it, but I would make sure that I'm comparing the same coverage limits. Is it comprehensive? Is it just liability? And then I would say, is it for one car, two cars, three cars, all the cars? And then what's the premium? Make sure that I'm comparing apples to apples. And then I would cross shop those three. So you can do the same thing with LendingTree. So if you go to LendingTree and you click on car insurance, which I've already done here, you answer some questions. Let's say maybe I'm driving a Toyota, it's a 4Runner, it's a nice 4Runner, I've had insurance, I was with State Farm. How long have I had insurance? So you can see LendingTree is taking quite a bit more time. I've already answered a lot of these questions. They want to know a lot more than necessarily I think is needed, especially compared to like BestMoney. You can see I'm just still answering all these questions. Okay, and so once they have all this information, like I said, a lot of times you'll get calls, you'll get emails, you'll get mailers. So you do want to be careful with that. You want to make sure that you're answering things truthfully and that you really are trying to shop these quotes, just like we talked about, using Geico, using Allstate. So I'm just going to click exit because the next one's going to ask I think my home address. That is my birthday if you guys would like to send me a birthday card. And then you guys can email me anytime if you need anything. That's my published email address. So I'll hit continue. And then I'm not going to put this in. I'm just going to click exit. And look at that. They were able to find insurance before I gave them all this information. Almost like they were trying to collect as much information from me as possible, which I don't really appreciate. But you can see here, after I clicked exit, they're going to say, wait. We do have some items here. So you can pop Progressive open, or you can pop open Allstate. You'll answer a lot of those questions again. Maybe someone will reach out to you. Here's your birthday. There's flow with Progressive. Same for Allstate over here. You're going to answer some questions and then you'll start getting those quotes. So once again, guys, these sites are just aggregators. I would be super weary about using folks that you're maybe not as familiar with, maybe Insurify or just auto insurance. I'm not familiar with the Zebra. I would try and stick with those name brand companies, and then I would cross shop. I would say, okay, well, what can I get from BestMoney? What can I get with Bankrate? What can I get with LendingTree? So I'm gonna go ahead and close out of this, and we'll do the last one, which is just Bankrate. They also offer car insurance. All of these companies offer typically like credit cards, checkings, pet insurance, auto insurance, mortgages, loans, any like financial product. These aggregator sites are going to be able to provide you with. So they're all kind of set up the same way. You know, they're going to get that commission, they're going to get that referral. You do want to be careful, like I said, of entering maybe phone numbers or email addresses if you don't want tons of mailers. I think it might be best to use a platform that is like, for instance, Credit Karma. I would not use Intuit's Credit Karma. They consistently spam and send all kinds of just phone calls, junk phone calls, mailers, just text messages. Like, I would just be a little weary of that. Most of these sites, once again, are going to try and get that information from you. So a site that's going to take less to be able to push you over to like Allstate or Progressive or State Farm, that's better. You know, the less information you put in, the better. Okay, so Bankrate is going to be very similar. Let's see, insurance. Let's go talk auto insurance. Let's compare rates on car insurance quotes. Same deal. You put in a zip code, and it's going to ask you plenty of questions. Do I have car insurance? Let's get it right now. I bought a car. Who was I with? Let's see. State Farm. Are you on here? There you are, State Farm. I've had it for more than 3 years, close enough to my zip code. Let's say it's a new car. Well, today I want to drive a Bentley. Oh man, I couldn't even imagine. It's a Continental. And then what's the trim? I own it. I use it for commuting. Let's see, 14,000 miles a year. I don't want to add another vehicle, and continue. Name, Jonathan. And see, they're still asking a little bit more questions than I would be happy to answer. I haven't had any tickets. Let's see, I'm an admin, I've got good credit. I've never been in the military, date of birth, 3/12/96, continue. I'm married, what's my spouse's name? I wonder if I go back if it'll, not married. Let's see, I'm not gonna put my street address in. Have I lived at this address? Maybe I just do 123 Main Street, Shreveport, LA. Close enough. That's not where I actually live, guys. Don't want to add another driver. Okay, and when I hit continue, they'll start to say, hey, here's your quotes. Now, this is where you have to be careful, guys. If I was to put my email address in there, they're gonna send this out everywhere. I don't know if you guys noticed, but a platform like BestMoney, we didn't get that far. It didn't ask for that email address. What it did instead was give us your information. Then we'll say, here's Progressive, here's Geico, here's State Farm, here's Allstate. I am not willing to put my email address in here. Even if you leave this box unchecked, you're still gonna get those offers. So just be wary of that. What I would recommend for folks who are trying to shop car insurance, cross shop. Use a couple of platforms. You don't have to use the ones that I listed here. I like the layout of some of them more than I like the layout of others that are very simple. They ask for less information, but just find a platform that's a good comparison tool that lets you evaluate multiple carriers. You can see how Bankrate said, well, give us all the information and then we'll show you everything. I like to say, here's what I'm interested in by giving the data that you guys have asked, and then give me 5 or 6 carriers, maybe 1 or 2 of them are large name brand carriers. Compare the coverage, what's my limits, make sure the cars are the same, make sure the drivers are the same, make sure the information is the same, and then look at those premiums. Try and find the premium that's going to give you, pay for the premium that's going to give you the best coverage for your situation. If you're only driving a couple thousand miles a year, like I've got an old 20-year-old truck out here, it's just got liability. I pay $40 a month for it, but my commuting vehicle, it's got full coverage. I pay a couple $100 a month for it. So overall, there are pain points that come with shopping for insurance online. Just be aware of those. Be aware that you're probably going to get just flooded with spam if you're not careful. But some of these platforms are better than others. I think I've shown you a couple of good ones, the things to watch out for, the things to look forward to, and hopefully you guys agree. So anyway, not a certified financial planner or anything like that, just kind of giving you all the rundown on some of the issues I ran into recently, the money I saved, and honestly, I was pretty happy with it. So hope you guys learned something. I think at this point I'm rambling, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. You guys need to go ahead and save that money at the end of the month, buy something nice, squirrel it away, invest it. But anyway, guys, I'm off to the next one. Thanks for watching.